Groups C and G, another 11 laps to get a clearer picture on who's going to be going through to finals.
Drivers going off the grid and then to kick us off for qualifying heats C versus G. Front row, Andrew Mather looks like who?
Toby Gale from Thailand will have pole position for this one. Zach Drummond alongside on the front row. Angelo Melli and Tyke Buckley will form up the second row for this one. Hugo Marti and Zach Green go from row number 3. Aaron Garcia, very much in form, looking for another victory, but has to do it from row number 4, is joined by Tobias Norman. Alois Girardet goes from row 5. The Frenchman is joined by Xavi Loureras on that row. That is your top 10. Santiago Alves and Eloy Gonzalez was holding his wrist a little bit, but he's okay to go. Otto Pukkanen and Isaac Sayer, they go from row 7. They're ahead of Aaron Vader and Sam Woolley on row number 8. It's then Adja Mustienes and Amankara Osman starting on row number 9. That is the first half of your grid.
Row number 10, part 2 of your field. The top 20 will be Gabe Stilp, who's got new tyres deployed on the left-hand side of his kart, and he's starting alongside Jean-Paul Carras. From 11, Lewis Bird has gone for the same tactic as Stilp. He's starting alongside Adam Elbassoni. They will be in front of row number 12, which includes Robin Happerine and Mark Lepiccolo. From 13, Louis Martinez with Charlie Gardiner. And then from 14, it's all new tyres on the left-hand sides for both Yves Riz and Harrison Mackie. 15th row of your field, Portugal and Great Britain, looks like Rafael Reina and Luke Agnew. And then from 16, Andre Dabija with Martin Wallström. Row number 17, your final row of your 34-strong grid. Christian Fuente goes alongside Sophia Sage. Fuente then being another driver in your 34-strong field to put new boots on the left-hand side of his kart.
Just to confirm that Anthony Jordan, hasn't just decided to have a sit down and go for a cup of tea or a light beverage. He's still at trackside watching for us. Good to see him still hard at work. 11 laps, of course, for this one, with it being an X30 senior heat. Quick review of the points heading into this one. Karanini 276, Van der Kerkhoff 236, Lloyd 214, Buckley on 210, Mins 203, Moyer 202, Drummond, of course, on a perfect 200. So could go up to second place with another strong result here, could the Scottish driver. And then Rattel 196. That is your top 8 as things stand. The pace is steady, controlled and ready to go then. Who is going to take the next haul of 50 intermediate points in X30 Senior? We are racing once again here at IWF 2025. It's a good start for Toby Gale. He will lead off the first corner. Drummond will slot down to P3, which is not too bad, starting from the outside line of row number 1. Are they all going to make it through turn 3 and 4? There's a few drivers taking over the curb. Oh, big spin, and out is that Isaac Sayer going for a turnaround in the 283. Yes, it was. Wow, that was quite a spectacular moment for the driver from Singapore, but back at the front of the field, it is Toby Gale leading in this race. Drummond on the attack, though, down the inside, back into P2, Nicole.
Well, Zach Drummond then in his heat earlier on achieved a heat win, and now he's charging forward to try. The name ahead of him is Toby Gale, who's out there with a sizable gap to kick off this qualifying heat. Gale, a P2 for him so far today, but with that DNF caused by that rear hub falling off for him yesterday down at turn number 1, means that points-wise, he's not inside your top 8, and he's actually not a direct contender to Zach Drummond outside of this heat. Further back in the field, the pack looks busy. That's Otto Pukkanen trying to fend off Laveres, Alves and Wieder as well. Gets up the order, 4 places to his name so far, and is now looking at the 256 of Norman just ahead of him. Zach Green is trying to fight his way past Hugo Marti for that 6th position. Zach Green last year was on the podium in the junior category, is trying to charge ahead now to replicate something similar, this time in your seniors.
Well, of course, he's got a good record around this particular circuit. At the start of the season, Zach Green was your senior winner. He didn't take it on track. A technical infringement from the on-track winner meant that Zach Green moved up to top spot, but it was still a very strong performance for his first race at this level. That's a big move as well from Aaron Garcia. That's the kind of driving that we've seen across the course of this season from Aaron Garcia that's led him to victory after victory after victory. A decisive move there on the man in form, Zach Drummond. That's Garcia up to P2.
Yesterday in Drummond's driver interview, then he said the names of drivers that he thought would be contenders, the likes of Danny Caronini. And I think a move like that by Garcia, your 25 Euro champion, is a bit of, well, look at me. I'm a contender as well. I am one of the big names to beat. I think that was a bit of a power move there from Aaron to get into part 2 of P2. Power moves there further back in your field. That's Harrison Mackie trying to fight his way past. Harrison Mackie then on the back foot this weekend. Really did not qualify well, has really had to be tactical during every single heat and has had to push. Currently, the push is 15 places to sit in P13 behind Eloy Gonzalez, who equally has just as much work to do after his DNF in his previous heat.
Yeah, it's been a funny weekend so far, a funny week I should say, for Harrison Mackie. I don't know what it is about this Valencia circuit. It just doesn't seem to, whether it doesn't suit him or it's one of those circuits that becomes a bit of a bogey circuit for a driver. A difficult time the last 2 Winter Cups here, as that's a nice move from Buckley down the inside. Ty Buckley again gaining another position, back up to P4. I also took a little sharp intake of breath on that last lap because Mackie and Bird were both chucking it down the inside of Ahmed Kara Osman through turn 14, but those are 3 high-quality drivers. Kara Osman, Mackie and Bird, and they made it work. Also trying to make it work at the moment there is Otto Pukkanen. This is more like it from Otto Pukkanen. Pukkanen, for me, was a little bit timid. He was out of sorts yesterday. I like to see the Finnish driver going on the attack in these senior X30 races. As I say, this is more what we like to see from the driver of the 209, but Angelo Melli there ahead of him in 5th place is going to be no slouch.
Well, maybe going back to the Harrison Mackie story, this weekend his first IWF without the Fusion camp,
yeah, of course.
Completely new team for Harrison. Maybe that's, falling into play here. Maybe that's why he's not as high up as we would typically see him. Going back to Otto Pukkanen, now he has made up yet another position there in the field, so good stuff from the Finn. Mackie then, as we say, his name arrives actually on your screen. He's now in this fight that includes Green, Gonzalez and Alvarez as well. Down the start-finish straight they will go. Defensive postures being deployed now into turn number 1. Down the inside, Mackie goes, uses that run on the exit of the final corner and actually uses Eloy Gonzalez as well to push through on the driver ahead.
I was about to say, he's picked a really good rear axle to glue himself onto the back of. You always know that Eloy
like
Gonzalez is almost being, is parting the seas ahead of Harrison Mackie right now. This is more like it from last year's junior Miami Euro Series champion. At this stage at Zuera, the triple was still on the cards for Harrison Mackie of national, continental and international title. It nearly went that way, of course, at Zuera just less than 12 months ago. It's seeming like after all of the woes earlier on in the weekend that Mackie started to get back into the kind of rhythm that we would expect. We've gone into the second half of this one. We're on lap number 7 now of 11. Toby Gale leads this race from Aaron Garcia by just over half a second. Zach Drummond still in 3rd, and this is still a good score for Zach Drummond. He's still within reach as Mackie gets another position, this time past the 256 of Norman. So Drummond right now still with a strong result in the last round would still overhaul Danny Caronini's 276, so it's still all to play for, Nicole.
Yeah, it's not over until that checkered comes out now. Just behind Mackie, we've still got these moves going on between these drivers. Lewis Bird is another name that's trying to jump on to your screens. Isn't just yet inside of the top 10, but 9 places Bird has picked off during this race. Haven't seen them for a little while on the screen, but Toby Gale still out there in the front, over the curb, cutting the track. I think that was Lewis Bird there that just cuts across the exit of the corner, ends up actually bunching everybody in this pack up, and this is getting feisty now through turn number 1. We've got Green in the fight, we've got Mackie. Bird, Navarez, Alves, as again, Lewis Bird misses the corner and has to exit and go over the grass. And then, obviously, of course, you've got dirty tyres for the next couple of corners. It just did not go well for Bird there.
Yeah, and that's the trouble with turn 2, the second little kink there, that you've gone through turn 1. The fronts are almost screaming at times, going, why is this corner so long? And then it just gets a little bit tight on the apex, and it's very easy to find yourself out on driver's left and over the curb. Right, change for the lead. Look at this. Aaron Garcia has got through past Toby Gale. So Aaron Garcia, could he be playing his way into a potential pole position for tomorrow? This score right now would take him up to 2:29. He would be within reach of Carinini's score. He would need to win his last heat. He would need to make it 3 in a row. But this has been a properly good step up from this year's Miami Euro Series champion. Oh, Gale out wide there. Just nearly got... There's a little dip just beyond the curb of turn 7. That Toby Gale flirted with there. Zach Drummond could have a chance here. This could be big for Drummond. He might need these points with this kind of form for Aaron Garcia now, challenging him across the last rounds of these heats, down towards the chicane. We're on lap number 9, Nicole, 2 to go.
Well, Gale just dropping those wheels off the circuit. Dirty tyres for him for the remaining couple of laps of that remaining couple of corners of that lap, and now he just looks like maybe Drummond is going to start rattling his cage. Out of turn number 1 they go. Gale still there in P2, Drummond P3, but you can visibly see how hard Zach is trying to push now to get onto the back of that Birilat driver, as still is not quite in doubt behind them. It is not simmered down whatsoever. So many names in this fight trying to go for it. Mackie still there, 19 places gained in total, still trying to push, still trying to make up these positions. I think a fire in the belly of Harrison now.
Yeah, this is the proper Harrison Mackie, and I've missed seeing this. We've probably not seen this from Harrison for, what did you say, 3 or 4 months. Yeah, 3 or 4 months. But good to see the fire back there. Right, on to the final lap of this one. Garcia, Gale, Drummond. Remember, it's a 3-point difference between a finish in 3rd to 2nd in one of these heats. So Drummond would quite like those 3 points just to give him a little bit more breathing room for the final set of heats later on this afternoon. There's a problem for Jean-Paul Carras there in the 262. Not the first time that we've said that today. That's a real shame for Jean-Paul Carras. That might be game over for the Greek driver of any hopes to go through to tomorrow. Gale closing in on Garcia. Garcia hasn't got this race won quite yet. Out of turn 14, this is where you need the power. This is where you need the ponies down the back straight to get you to the chicane. Garcia is over checking his shoulders. Subtle line to the inside there, into the chicane. Gale trying to look around the outside. Well covered off there by Aaron Garcia. He parks it in the middle of the chicane. He's going to get this win just by 66 thousandths of a second. Brilliant stuff there from Aaron Garcia. He's back in play, ladies and gentlemen, and the host nation have a big hope here of adding the IWF X30 senior title, as there's a problem for Isaac Sayer again on the last corner. Something has happened there. Albassoni falling down, Fuente falling down, Gardner falling down. That's under 322 has come past us. That is a lot of damage to Christian Fuente Plaza's kart there. That's all been happening in through the final couple of corners. But Aaron Garcia takes a very important win there, Nicole. It moves him up to 4th place in the standings, just behind Van der Kerkhoff by 7 points. But critically, he can now beat Carinini's score. Well, he was always going to be able to beat Carinini's score, but he had to win that race, which when you start from the 4th row of the grid is never guaranteed. If he does that again in his final heat, he will get past Carinini's 276. But there's still the problem of Zach Drummond. Yes, Zach Drummond's unbeaten record has gone, but that movement to 241 now with that 3rd place means he's already cleared Van der Kerkhoff. Van der Kerkhoff has finished racing for today, so a decent score from Drummond. I think maybe like a top 5 or something like that would get him past Carinini but he'll want more, especially if Aaron Garcia continues this kind of form.
Yeah, Drummond then I would say would still look confident. You know, he called it well, saying earlier on in this weekend that Karanini